Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the World Explorer podcast. This is the podcast where we take a random prompt, or in today's case, a random picture, and we build an entire world, or in this case, creature, out of it. My name is Casey, and as always, I am joined with the prompt master, Isaac.
Hello there. So, I have not shown Casey the picture yet. I am about to send it to her and see what her initial reaction to it is, because I think it is epic.
Epic. Whoa. Oh, that's a... Okay, well, we gotta describe this for viewers who are just listening and not watching. We have a dog that looks like the size of a mountain, especially if that is, in fact, trees and not bushes or grass tufts. And he's got a fiery jaw. It is fur, but it kind of has a feather-like texture to it all over him that's black. And then he has a mane that goes down his back it's got hair on top and then fire coming out underneath it. And he is, of course, breathing fire, as well as where he's walking, there is fire underneath him. Also, the AI did some amazing lighting and shadowing on this picture, so like A+ on that.
Yeah, I really liked how this one turned out. Like, because I was just generating a bunch of fantasy creatures and landed on this one.
As one does.
And I thought, yeah, this is a pretty awesome one to have a starting point for. Let's world build this. To me, this seems almost like a prophesied world-ending giant.
Like I said, it's the bushes on the bottom. Are those bushes, grass, or trees?
Let's say that they're trees, because that just makes this thing even bigger.
He's then like the size of a mountain.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, world-ending.
He's massive.
Yeah, I don't think we've world-built any creature like this that's like, you know, a destined or prophesied destroyer of the earth.
It's like that serpent from Norse mythology.
Jormungand.
Thank you. Yep.
I mean, isn't it supposed to be like Jormungand along with Fenrir and Hela would all be there for Ragnarok?
Okay. Yeah, they're all there, but like Hela, she's okay. But that's not the topic of this podcast.
Anyway, so this creature, what do we want to come up with a name for it? Do we want to build it first, its characteristics, ability, and then come up with a name?
We can pray that a name will come to us at some point in this podcast, but
I mean, my mind is going to the Destroyer, but that's just because that's the name of a world-ending creature from Spyro.
That's boring. That's boring.
It's not original, but I mean, it's not.
No.
I don't think it's boring. I think it's a cool name. It's just not original.
Nah, this is a creature from mythology. He would have an epic, like, mythical name. English does not do creatures justice when it comes to like cool mythical and earth-ending names.
Bartholomew.
Anyway, creatures
Wait, hold on. Just imagine for a moment this thing erupting from the earth and screaming in a big roaring voice, "I am Bartholomew."
Bartholomew? Yeah?
Bartholomew? He's not a mule. He's a dog-like creature.
No, that's how you said it.
Oh, well, I went to say Bartholomew.
Cut out.
Anyway, so obviously it's a creature of fire, so I'm thinking center of home is from either the center of the earth or it's a creature from hell.
If it's a creature from the center of the earth, it just erupting out of the center of the earth is earth-ending in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's a pretty good way to start off the end of the earth, is just erupt from the center of it and then destroy whatever's left. I mean, that could be part of the prophecy, is like this creature's prophesied to erupt from the center of the earth, which would cause initial mass destruction, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, storms, like all the stuff. And then he's just stomping around looking for any surviving life and destroying it.
I mean, your Earth is cut open and it now has like a gaping hole to the center of the Earth. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, nobody would really be able to go down there because it's all just magma. But yeah, you could theoretically see it, and yeah, that's a big hole. I guess a lot of it would be filled in because when he's digging his way out and breaking through, I imagine a lot of
It would condense on itself.
it would condense on
yeah.
itself, and a rock would fall in, and magma would flow in, but it would cause a lot of problems in terms of, again, earthquakes, storms, volcanoes erupting.
Tsunamis.
Yeah, a lot of destruction
Giant raptures.
would come about from this creature just emerging. And then again, he just goes around and destroys whatever's left. So,
Okay, well, I have one question. There is, I feel like, one thing standing between this creature, right, and destroying the entire world. And it's called the ocean.
because the ocean is water and he's made of fire.
Yeah.
I
I mean, he's not all fire. It's quite clear he's got, like, the feathered... It's a weird mix of fur, feather, and scales. I can't tell what it is. That's all over his body. Or maybe that's water resistant. So when he goes in the water, it just puts him out. But
I think because if you look at something like his jaw, his eyes and stuff, he looks to me like he is made of fire, but he is coated in some sort of armor. Of course, fire is not something that you can really attack or kill unless, again, maybe he's weak to water. I don't know.
You see, I would say that, except if you look inside his mouth and, like, his underbelly, he has, like, a red skin that's very smooth. And
I don't think that's skin. I think that's just the light of the fire up against his armor.
It's a weird lighting, then.
It's an AI. What you expect?
Perfection.
I mean, you could also...
I thought that's what we were promised.
It could also be the light of the fire sort of shining through maybe thinner parts of the armor.
True. Oh, so, like, from the inside
Yeah.
out, and then turning it into, like, a bloody red?
Yes.
Possibly. I could see that happening.
I mean, maybe this armor, what it does is a lot of it is keeping him contained into one being. Like, if the armor were to disappear or be destroyed, he would just sort of maybe turn into a big ball of amorphic fire.
And would that, so out of curiosity, theoretically, if this happened, would he then eventually dissipate? Or would he just cover the earth in fire and burn it to a crisp?
I think he would I think maybe he would dissipate, and but he would cause mass destruction before he does. Like, maybe he would just spread and.
But, like, would that be a goal then?
Like, to eventually commit suicide to finish off the earth?
Well, no, not for him, but I meant for, like, other people. Like, if they can break the armor off this mountain somehow, and he turned into a fire blame, sure, those people are dead, but then he has his mass moment of destruction, but then it ends, and then the few people that somehow magically survive this can start rebuilding again.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting goal. And maybe what happens, I'm already developing, like, a story in my mind. This thing has now emerged from the earth. It has caused mass destruction and immediately wipes out 90 plus % of life and the earth. And so now it's just sort of wandering this ash and rock wasteland, looking for any signs of life. And maybe what the protagonists do is they set up a little area of life. Maybe they plant some trees or something to try and lure him into a specific area. And then as he's going, and this would be in the middle of an area that is desolate. Like the area is already completely destroyed, so that they have a spot for him to safely, uh, essentially self-destruct.
So how would you go about like breaking this armor? How do you break the armor off a mountain?
I don't know, and I mean you got to keep in mind if this is something that's strong enough that he can break through from the center of the earth, and it's probably very condensed and been pressurized and is a very dense and strong. Like I don't think you could break this armor actually, because of how.
Actually, so yeah, but okay, so based off of like our theory of how this guy is working, is he actually growing weaker the longer he's in the earth? On the earth? Like is he using up his fire and slowly dissipating to a point where maybe he shrinks enough where you could puncture holes in the armor and cause him to dissipate even more and more until eventually he does just die out?
I want to say no, because one thing is that sort of removes from, I want to say, like the epic, awesome might of this creature. It's just if over time he's slowly getting weaker, and then another thing is this is a magical being, obviously, and so I think that you could chalk it up to magic is why he never runs out of fire.
Fair, but you know he has to have the armor. It's the source of it. So if he loses that, then
yeah,
game over still.
It's like having a unlimited battery, like a battery with unlimited energy. However, if you break the battery, it stops working.
If you take the battery out, yeah, fair enough. Okay, so I'm curious, like, the picture only has, like, the upper half. So, you know, I have questions about, like, he looks like he's walking on all fours, because you can kind of see a third leg. So, he's not, like, a long creature. I mean, he's long in the sense that he's massive, the size of a mountain, but in proportion to the rest of him, he's not a long creature.
No, in proportion to the rest of them, no, he's not a long creature. He's, I don't know. What is a good comparison for this? I don't even, because it's not even quite a lion's length, I don't think. Maybe slightly shorter than a lion.
I really just want to, like, say, like, a bulldog.
I guess something.
He's giving off some bulldog energy. You know, little dogs, they're like, a little squished. I also find it interesting that his hair, or his mane, it has, like, the fire creeping out of it, but then it just goes full-blown fire at the back. Also, why are there demon eyes coming out of the smoke?
Demon eyes coming out of the smoke?
That's not or is that ashes falling? They just look like eyes.
I think I see what you're talking about. Is it above the fire that he's breathing?
No, below, it's underneath his chin, but
I see two little sparks of, like, fire. Yeah, it looks like...
Yeah, I said they would probably just ashes.
Yeah, it's probably just ashes. I can see the eyes, though. I can see what you're talking about. But no, I think that's just, like, ashes and lava, like, just dripping from his chin.
He also has spikes coming out of his chin.
He also has horns. Like, I just noticed.
Does he? I need, like, to look at this at a point where I can zoom in.
Yeah, like, he's got... It sort of blends in with his mane. But, like, it looks like he's got two horns. It's, like, two very, very long...
I don't know.
Horns.
He does, though, have 2 ears.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But there's 2 little ears there.
I mean, I think they're ears.
I'm gonna call them ears.
Okay.
I think we have the end say on that.
Alright, so what else have we got to world build with this creature?
Oh, we've kind of established that eventually he's gonna get killed in this grand story. So yeah, what he actually does, he prophesizes the end of the world, but it's actually one of those prophecies where he's actually the renewing of the world. He's resetting it. He's burning everything to the ground, and, you know, the seeds that survive and the plants that survive are the ones that come back up, and humans get to start again type thing. He's resetting.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see this being a story of, like, he was sent to destroy the world in order to, cleanse the world, essentially. And
yeah, and he succeeds, because there's no way a creature like that doesn't. I mean, unless you try to, like, nuke him, but I don't know what that would do.
I mean, I think that if he were struck by a nuke, I think that maybe I think that it would at least hurt him, It would destroy the armor, but the fire, I think, would remain.
But would it be enough to break the armor and like?
I think it would be enough to at least damage the armor.
Yeah, so it would probably destroy the world even worse. But if your options are a giant demon creature that's 100% going to destroy the Earth, or 80 nukes that are going to temporarily destroy the Earth, like in today's world, if this creature appeared, chances are we would try to nuke it.
Yeah, because I mean, missiles and normal missiles and bombs and stuff, they wouldn't do anything against this creature. It would just keep on going.
This thing is the size of a freaking mountain.
I mean, I think we would try and hit it with a lot of water.
Oh, like try that method. Try to nuke it into the ocean.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I think that water might hurt it, but I don't think it could kill it unless maybe if it were like completely submerged underwater. But even then, I'm wondering if even submerging it underwater could kill it. Because the idea is that this is supposed to be an ancient magical beast that's designed to destroy the world. And in a world that is 71% water, would it be waterproof?
But yes, especially considering our continents are broken up, I think it has to be able to swim.
Yeah, otherwise it can't destroy different continents.
Like, even worse, I feel like this is a creature when it gets into the water. The water would start evaporating extremely fast, and then that causes its own issues with lots of steam and smoke and humidity, to the point where it becomes almost unbreathable. Imagine, I don't know what would happen to a world in which the entire, huge chunk of our ocean suddenly is in our atmosphere. But something tells me it wouldn't be good.
I think it'd be extremely humid, and we'd probably get a lot of rainfall.
Would it bake us?
I don't think it would bake us, but...
Gosh, the amount of Google questions that I've done today. What would happen? Okay, this answer I do appreciate. The entire ocean evaporates, meaning all the water goes into the atmosphere. Air pressure jumps from 101 kPa at what this was sea level to 30 MPa. Everybody dies. That's what I thought. Like, the air pressure, it would kill. It would not be good. So I don't think he'd do it to all the ocean, but I think it would have an effect, and it wouldn't be great.
Yeah, I think that he would, like, in his travels from one continent to another, he would evaporate a good chunk of the ocean, and it would cause, again, that mass humidity, storms, yeah, air pressure.
Air pressure increase. It would, not good.
So I just asked ChatGPT what would happen if the entire ocean evaporated all at once, and it gave me a list.
What here?
Massive droughts, extreme weather, drastic changes to the environment.
These are very vague.
Acidification of the atmosphere. The ocean absorbs a significant amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and without it, the concentration of CO2 in the air would increase rapidly. This would lead to a rise in acidity levels and have a detrimental effect on the air quality.
That's terrifying. We'd have acid air. It's not acid rain. It's just acid.
Yeah, I mean, this is assuming that we were to remove the entire ocean, but if he's only removing, like, maybe a few feet of, like, the sea levels or something like that.
Okay, Isaac, our world, our planet is majority water, and our oceans are a big chunk of that. And if you were to remove a foot of that, I'm pretty sure that would be enough to destroy the world. If we were to evaporate a foot of the ocean in one chunk.
I mean, again, it depends on, like, how fast he's evaporating it.
I don't think he's able to do that.
Depends on how fast he's evaporating it, because it also depends on, like, how long it takes him to get from one continent to another. I imagine he gets there pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's like the size of a giant mountain. He's not... I think he gets in there, there's a lot of steam, but I don't even think he could touch the bottom of the ocean in most places.
No, would he touch the bottom of the ocean? Like, would he be swimming, or would he be
No.
like walking across underneath the water?
I think he'd be swimming.
Okay.
Oh, like if he died. Yeah, no, I think if he to touch the ocean, he'd have to submerge fully. The ocean is deep, and he's big, but I don't think he's that big.
Yeah, he's not quite that big, but I was wondering if maybe he could submerge completely and then just walk.
I guess it depends on his mood. Do you want a bath?
I mean, he hasn't gotten a bath in millennia, so probably. And he smells like smoke.
I don't think they can wash the smoke scent out of this guy. Like, this is campfire smoke on steroids.
Okay, so where else do we want to go with this? Like, again, we're trying to figure out, like, how do you destroy this thing? What is the end game with this guy? Because we thought about, like, destroying the armor, but the armor is so ridiculously tough that I don't think that could destroy it. Like, water doesn't hurt it. You can't destroy the armor. How do you beat this thing? Do you beat this thing? Do you let it run its course? Is there like a specific goal that it has in mind? Is it destroying the earth in search of something, and once it finds that thing, it's done?
I don't know. I'm just ignoring that for a moment. I just got like a really cool idea for like post demon dog mountain thing, where its fire has dissipated and now it's just the armor left behind, and like a city is built within him, and like there's all this myth and legend about his rise and his what he did to the world and the world before, and it's just I just thought that was a cool image. But now we can return to how they get to that point.
Okay, so real quick, I just looked up the Latin word for big, and it is incredibly fitting for this creature. Magnum.
Oh, yeah, he could be a magnum.
I don't think he's a magnum. I think he is the Magnum. He is just Magnum. Like, that is his name.
He is Magnum. Nice.
I think that's a good name for him, and it's incredibly fitting because it means big, and it also sounds a lot like magma. So Magnum.
Magnum it is. I can approve of that name. Okay, so Magnum needs to die. I know you just named him, which means that you're probably emotionally attached to him, but we still have to kill him.
I really feel like it might be something along the lines of he has a goal in mind, and beyond just destroying the earth. Like, he's destroying the earth in search of something. But again, if he's prophesied, okay, maybe we go from that, because we were talking about him being a prophesied destroyer.
Are we going like the Moana? Are we going the Moana route then?
Maybe where there's like a heart of the sea or something, where once he finds it, he turns into a peaceful mountain.
Yeah, and then people can live in it.
I mean, maybe. Now I'm just thinking about like a story where he's just slowly destroying the earth and people are running away, but that really is just Moana. And we don't want to world build a Moana clone. Like, I think the idea of just a wasteland that people are trying to survive in and dodge this thing is a little bit more interesting than just cloning Moana.
So you're saying, what if there's just a world where they just accept its existence?
Yeah, like, I would say it's a world where they accept its existence. I think it's something like, what was the creature's name in Loki at the end of time? Leviathan? Leviath? What was it again?
I don't remember.
It sounded like Goliath. That's all I remember. But yeah, I imagine it's something like that, where they just accept this creature exists, and what is your goal? Survive. Just run away.
Avoid.
Like, you can't beat it. And, so this creature is just sort of existing. Everybody's running away from it. And it's like, oh, we see that he's heading this way. Okay, guys, pack up camp. We're gonna move out and hide somewhere else. And up until one day when a hero comes along and is like, I have read a prophecy, or maybe I am the prophesied hero to destroy the prophesied destroyer. And but you really gotta figure out, like, well, how do you kill it? Like, I feel okay, so who prophesied it? How about we ask that? Who was the prophet that said the world will be destroyed by this creature?
Who created the creature?
I mean, I imagine uh, either one or multiple angry deities.
Okay. So we have a deities. So there's gods involved, which always makes killing a creature like this easier, in my opinion.
Oddly enough, you
So
give it god powers and suddenly it's easier to kill.
it really is. I'm telling you. Okay. So now we have these deities have created the world, and they've placed, I guess, mankind on it, and they realize that mankind can be kind of awful sometimes, and very destructive. So their solution to this is to create a creature that, if they get so bad, will just wipe them out.
I mean, maybe this is a situation of because again, I really like the idea of this being a prophesied creature, so this is what I'm leaning into.
Yeah.
Maybe they gave humans a warning: if you don't clean up your act, Magnum will rise in 1,000 years or whatever, and he will destroy the Earth. And
What if
then
it's, I love cryptic ones where you think it's one thing but it's actually another. So what if it actually, like, it's a prophecy based off of a nuclear war, and this nuclear war happens and there's so much destruction of people that it awakens the beast, but in the prophecy that's kind of what it was warning about. But it doesn't, like, actually say nuclear or anything like that because the word doesn't exist yet.
so it's like one day mankind will bring about mass destruction to the Earth in a rain of fire and sickness uh, and destruction. And
I mean, it could even be something like when mushrooms fill the sky and...
when mushrooms fill the sky, people are going to have a very different vision in mind.
Exactly, but that's how prophecies usually work, is where it has this concrete idea in your head, but then when you actually look at the fulfillment of it, you realize, oh, mushrooms meant that.
I mean,
I
maybe
see,
more
'cause
specifically, because I think that maybe that might be a little bit too vague and people could be waiting something else, but maybe it's something more like a cloud or a
I
mushroom
mean, that's not the
cloud
point.
or and walls of fire. Uh,
I don't know. I don't think we need to write a prophecy here today.
okay, again, this is also specifically talking about nuclear war. I think maybe you could just generalize it as say if humanity, the God said, if humanity does not clean up their act and learn to live in harmony with each other within the next 1,000 years, Magnum will rise and he will destroy the Earth so that it can be reset.
Yeah. Which means that at some point, the gods had to put
I figured out how to defeat it.
Oh my goodness, Isaac, don't do that.
The,
That was so loud in my ears.
don't gasp.
No, it was really loud in my headphones, and it scared me.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, I figured out how to defeat it. Magnum is destroying the Earth so that it can be reset, because the Earth is so terrible. But what if there was a sign that Magnum saw of humanity coming together and living in peace with one another? If Magnum saw that, maybe
Are you saying
Yes.
that to defeat this creature, you have to use the power of friendship?
You have to use the power of friendship to defeat Magnum.
I'm not surprised we've gotten here.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, it works, though. It
I
lines up
get
perfectly.
it. No, it does. I just want to make sure you're fully aware of what you're saying.
Yes. But, I mean, but I really feel like it is the way to defeat Magnum. And given how long it took for us to think of that, I imagine you could have a similar situation of the characters trying to figure out all these different ways to defeat it. And then eventually it dawns on one of the heroes. It's like, what about the power of friendship? And everybody's just like, you serious right now? Do you think that thing wants us to be friends? That demonic creature with fiery eyes that just destroyed an entire forest?
Yeah, it just wants friends. It's lonely.
It more just wants other people to be friends.
Yeah.
But like it just goes around and all it sees is corruption and violence and
Okay, so like what level of friendship does this guy need here? Like does he need a whole town and society coming together here? Cuz I'm assuming like two people being besties isn't going to be
That would
enough
not be enough.
cuz
No, because you go to a city, you're gonna find some best friends in it.
you're going to find yeah, exactly. But if you were to go to New York City, you're not going to see a cohesive city in which everyone's getting along very well at all. It's a scary place. Um, but if you were to go to like a smaller town that has a really close knit community and stuff, would that be enough for him?
I think it might, but the problem is, what if Magnum doesn't see people being friends? Like, you could have a close knit, friendly community in a town, but if he doesn't see them interacting with each other, then why would he not assume that they're just like everyone else and immediately lay waste to the entire town? I mean, all Magnum ever sees in his life is people running away screaming.
Yeah, but there's this whole idea, in your last there's certain people have different responses to different trauma, and there's always going to be people who, when they see a giant monster, their impulse isn't to run, their impulse is to help other people run. And he's going to see that. So part of me thinks that there's a world reset where he doesn't care. So there's like a short period of time where he just completely annihilates the world. It doesn't matter if he sees like communities rising or anything. They've messed up. It's time for a reset. But I think after that point, when new communities are coming out, that's when he's actually searching for a community that to arise that's like tight knit, and I don't know, maybe even attempts to defeat him or something in like this communal way that shows that they're trying to work together and they're trying to be kind to each other and amend their mistakes. And at that point, I think it's a very glorious display where he dissipates into a field of fire in the sky and then he's gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could work. And yeah, really, one of the things that could show humanity coming together is humanity coming together to face him.
Yeah.
And when he sees that they're all working together to face him, he's like, okay, I guess my job here is done.
They all come, it's honestly, it's kind of funny. They all come with like their very kind of sad, pitiful weapons and their ideas and their elaborate chap. And he just takes one look at it and says, good enough. And then just disappears. And they don't even get to try anything.
Now, yeah, I'm thinking that is very anticlimactic, though, for a story. That is a problem with this. It's not a world building issue, it's a narrative issue.
That's true.
Where you're expecting the grand dramatic battle between Magnum and the humans. I mean, maybe at first. Okay, so here's an idea for how to fix the narrative. So you've got different groups, you've got different tribes or cities or towns or whatever, and they all have different strategies and different plans to go about fighting Magnum. And they all approach Magnum at the same time, and they're arguing about how to go about it at first. And Magnum sees this and continues fighting them. It continues attacking because they aren't working together. But in the midst of all the combat, they actually start working together. And upon seeing this, Magnum stops attacking and is like, congratulations. You've passed the test. You've managed to work together.
Talks.
Yeah, I would say like he can talk. Like once they figured it out, he gets a speaking role. And I imagine him having a very big, booming, deep voice.
He does this whole dramatic speech, and then one person, because there's always that one person, still throws their weapon at him at the end, and he just kind of glares at them as it dissipates.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine he's gonna like. The problem is that there are always gonna be those who will want to start war, who will want to harm others. And maybe part of it is that somebody has to reason with Magnum. Maybe like you've got the hero has to go to Magnum and be like, you want to reset the world, but even if the world resets and people start getting along, there will be those who rise up and start causing wars. We can only be working together for so long before something else happens. And maybe upon reasoning with Magnum, he says, oh, okay, I see your point. So you know what? I will stop destroying things. I will give you a chance to rebuild, and I will return in 1,000 years. And if I see that it is as bad or worse than it was when I first showed up, then I'll go and destroy it again. But if you guys can manage to at least work together for the most part, and you aren't launching nukes at each other or anything, then I will leave you alone. So he will. It talks about showing up again once everything gets bad enough. Maybe he could be somebody who somebody who values life actually, and like maybe upon his destruction he destroys forests and wild animals and everything, but it's only in the process of destroying humans who are again cause. He says, it's a small sacrifice to get rid of the humans. But if he sees like a forest that's just an empty forest and no one's living there, he will leave it alone. He says, I want that to stay.
Yeah. I mean, and now we have like an interesting concept of a creature that keeps coming back every time mankind gets to a certain level and keeps having to reset it. Because that could just almost be an interesting story in itself, following a creature in which it has to deal with this constantly. And it's trying to have hope for humanity, but at the same time it has to keep killing them and resetting them. And at what point does a creature like that give up?
I don't think he does give up. I think like what happens is he doesn't expect the world to be perfect, but when it gets too imperfect, he will destroy it in order to try and bring about as much good as he can. Because if there's too much evil, then he says, well, good can't arise from this. Time to reset. So if we had something like, say, maybe a 1984 sort of dystopian setup, he would destroy that because he says good cannot rise up from this. And he wipes everything out. But if people are, at least for the most part, living in peace, there could still be like maybe minor wars or minor conflict. There could still be things like robberies in your local store, but so long as it's not en masse, he would not destroy the world.
Yeah, and I think the story for this, I think it's less about heroes and I think it's more about the creature. And it seems like it'd be an interesting challenge, and I love those type of writing challenges, to humanize a creature whose purpose in life is to reset the world. Its purpose is to kill humans in hopes of making them better, and trying to explain his reasoning and make a reader like respect this creature and in a way root for it and try to understand where it's coming from, I think would be a very cool challenge to try to write.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting creature now. Like,
he's less monster now and more like interesting.
Yeah, he's not like a mindless beast like we originally started creating him. He's actually he has a goal and a purpose and desires and all the stuff. And at this point, I don't even know if we need like a divine origin for him. He could just be the being that's always existed.
Yeah,
like since the beginning of the earth.
And he just returns into the earth every time he's done.
Yeah, maybe you could say he's the spirit of the earth. And that's why he's like so indestructible and he lives within the earth.
He loves humans. He just hates the evil they cause.
Yeah, like he wants humans to exist. He wants them to live on Earth. He just wants them to stop killing each other. He wants them to stop enslaving each other. He wants them to stop blowing things up. And he's like, okay, if you're going to destroy everything anyways, then I'm going to destroy everything to make you stop, and then try and reset it so that stuff can build up properly next time. And then maybe it does for a while, but eventually he's like, okay, things were good for the first like 700 years, but in these last 300, guys, you messed up. Time to reset.
Yeah. It's an interesting world, for sure. And it's, again, people get lucky, and some of them get to live in this cool era of peace caused from this creature coming and wiping and them having to rebuild and be focused on community just to survive, versus living in a time where there's a lot of war and hatred, versus living in a time where this creature has come up out of the earth and is setting everything on fire.
Yeah, and I think that this might be a good place to leave it off, or do we want to try and world build the world that he is destroying? Like after, like, post destruction, world is now ash and cloud and humidity and smoke and acid and all these different things.
I would be up for doing that, but I think that would have to be a part two.
I'm down with doing a part 2 to this.
I am too. I would love to build the world, the post world for him. I think that'd be a very interesting world to build and like discuss, especially because I think there'll be a lot of fun things to do with like the mythology of the world and things as well.
Yeah, I think this would be a very unique apocalypse.
It would, and I'm up for that. So, but we're gonna end this one here with the creature that caused this, and you guys can join us next week where we'll build the world in which this creature actually exists, and we'll probably pick one time, post-apocalyptic time, in which we can like dive in deeper.
All right, goodbye everyone. Join us next week.